Hi, my name is Jinsun Gong. It's my first time in RCOS, and I'm working on YACS with Jeff, who just created last semester. So here's YACS as it is right now. It's an online course scheduler for some of you who don't know, and anybody can just go on there and either search for the courses they want or browse through some courses for departments and pick which courses they want to take, and then YACS will generate a schedule for you, and you'll decide which one fits your need. And this is where things were left off after the release of YACS. And also out of these, we covered browser testings, optimization, and deployments. And we just recently got the permalink schedules in, and we still have some work to do with calendar exports and making the schedules printer friendly, as currently it's still printing out some awful schedules. And one of the weird thing about YACS is that the development schedule is really short. Generally, we have about half a semester before we want to get the release out so that people can use the new release for when it's time to register for classes. So this causes some problems with our code as it tends to be rushed and gets really messy. So with after a release date, we have some opportunity to do a lot of refactoring, a lot of optimization and debugging on all the things that we might have missed. So yeah, refactoring, debugging, optimization. And so not only does this helps improve our performance and allows our YACS to scale so that as time goes on and more data gets added, it can hold up to the string. YACS is not on a very beefy server, and we have to try to optimize whatever we can. Also, we were able to find some pretty annoying scaling bugs that might have destroyed YACS. So with all this new refactoring and whatnot, it also allows us to set up sort of a base ground, sort of proving ground, so for the new feature we're going to add. Because as time goes on, more data is going to be added. But we're also adding new features and incorporating more data. And with the refactoring, it allows us to sort of allows YACS to be more easily extended as one of the new features that I'm going to show you right now. And since right now, YACS is pulling data from SIS and RCOS, mostly SIS. It's too similar. And we process the data and put it in a database. But there's a problem with this, as you'll see here. Does anybody know what course this is?
Oh, yeah, it's methods. It's not offered anymore.
SIS says otherwise. Anyway, so all the data on the SIS is in a format like this. It's all abbreviated. It's all not very descriptive. It's not a problem if you know what course you're taking. You're just going on, it's like, oh, sure, I'll just take this. I have the codes and everything. But once you really want to browse courses and pick courses that you might never consider, then it becomes a problem. So this is what the course actually is. So currently, our source of information doesn't incorporate this. So we need to add more source of information. So we added our RPI catalog into our mix. And because we refactor our code, this was able to be done much more easily. The parser for the RPI catalog can be developed completely separately from YACS, and we can just integrate it with some few lines of code to add it to the database. Now, we have all this data, but what are we going to do with it? Since as time goes on, we get more and more data, and now we're adding in more descriptive data. This provides us an interesting opportunity. It allows us to process these data, to do more analysis. So here's an example of a course with a lot of requirements. As you have all these restrictions, but there's also a lot of relationship in these notes that SIS may have. But YACS doesn't know what they mean. And usually when you're, even in the previous course schedulers, when you actually go to pick courses, some of these courses may be segmented, as you have to select multiple courses, which actually were supposed to be one whole course. It could be lab sections and whatnot. So with all these new descriptive data, we can do a lot more processing and allow YACS to know semantically how these courses are related. So that's another thing we're improving on, processing these relationships, and so that YACS knows when you're picking a course, it allows you to incorporate all of the necessary courses that you might need. And finally, so far, Yaks, we've just been throwing Yaks everything, and Yaks just been taking everything. But it's time for Yaks to give. And one of these things is sharing. As I mentioned before, we just recently finished permit link schedules. So now you can really actually just post, copy, and paste links and share it with your friends. And you actually know which schedule you're referring to. But in addition, we want to be able to print out schedules so that you can have a hard copy somewhere in case you need to take it on the go. And then also the ICS calendar. What we want to do with the ICS calendar is to allow Yaks schedules to be exported to any modern calendar software. Essentially like Google Calendar, and not only just your weekly schedule, but we want it so that it recognizes entire semester schedule. As we just threw in the RPI calendar into our Yaks as well, so you have the data for all your holidays. So we want to incorporate that so it actually knows when you actually don't have classes on what holidays and what breaks. And maybe it even knows which schedule you're on because of those weird Monday schedules on Tuesdays. And so these are some of the features that we want to add, and I'll turn it over to Jeff to talk about some more front-end stuff, all the pretty stuff.
Thanks. So I've also been working with Peter Hages on Genesis, so this is more of a lower key stuff. So I've been doing most of the front-end refactoring work, which is basically rewriting all of the JavaScript stuff. And some of the more cosmetic stuff, though, is more like in this place where this page is showing a set of courses that, set of sections that a user selected for one particular course. And as I mentioned in the last semester, Yaks scales with different browser, based on your browser width. So if you're on a mobile device, it scales, it responds adaptively to the resolution for that. But in this case, for the typical desktop resolution, it's not ideal at displaying all the information. Like quickly scanning and seeing the times that these sections occur is not exactly very easy. And so part of the refactoring is just to make it easier to quickly scan the data. Because when you select some courses might have a lot of sections, and you want to just quickly scan. Maybe I don't want like Monday classes or something, or I don't want Wednesdays. And this redesigning part of the views for specific resolutions, to more cater to these resolutions, will help users quickly scan the data when there is enough screen real estate to allow them to do so. Also, another problem before was scheduling. Before, there was a problem where you had to click next and previous for each schedule you wanted to view. And if you had 100 schedules, that was not very optimal. And so now we just have a button here where you can just click. I need a better icon, but that's besides for now. And it gives you a thumbnail view of all the schedules, so you can see at a glance what schedules, what kind of schedules this, my selected courses will generate. Maybe I don't want, in this case, all of them have some morning classes, which is unfortunate, but maybe, I didn't want some morning classes, or I don't want Mondays. You can just quickly scan and you can click and then it'll show you the schedules. Also, we're working on the API, because for the JavaScript refactoring, it actually uses the API itself now, as opposed to before, where it should use its own internal set of APIs just for serving Yaks. But now, with the JavaScript refactoring, it all uses the public API. So which kills two birds with one stone. I can get the API working and verify that it works and it's useful, as opposed to not worrying how to maintain these two separate implementations of fetching the same data. And so these are the current APIs that are implemented for it. There's still one private API, which is the scheduling, which I'm working to port over to be public. But basically, the API is just this. You just hit this, and it gives you JSON data, and you can just parse it and do everything you want with it.
All the data.
Yeah, it's a lot of data. But that's besides the point. That's it. So any questions? Yeah.
Do you know when the new course information for next fall gets posted?
I wish I did.
Really related to it.
I wish I did, but I don't. So
they don't really tell us these things.
Yeah. So Yaks just it does some heuristics to guess the available URLs, because it's basically SIS. There's a specific URL that has all the semester course data, and so Yaks just kind of heuristically guesses and checks every so often, if the URL is there, and when it does, it gets all the data.
Like every 5 minutes.
So yeah, and so therefore I don't have unlike what the RCOS does, which someone actually has to go in and like do something. I don't know. I don't run it, but someone has to like munge around to actually get it to update. Whereas with Yaks, I don't have to be like waiting for and constantly checking to see when the schedules are released. I don't have to do any of that.
So like you're just scraping raw data. There's no permissions. No one ever let you do this. Just
No, yeah, just scraping raw data and
all public data.
which is really nice because the API helps other people to not worry about that because parsing it is extremely messy. They have random closing div tags in the middle of their tables. They have creating new tags that are incomplete. It's a mess. And like I was using Beautiful Soup to parse the SIS data, and Beautiful Soup completely fails at parsing it. So I have to sanitize the data before I can give it to Beautiful Soup to parse it. Yeah, it's kind of messy.
and you haven't had any issues with them blocking or scraping or anything?
No.
I'm surprised they haven't DDoS their website right now.
No, I mean it's just a static
Once you
file.
get it, right?
Well, they said they were doing it once every 5 minutes.
Well, if you're checking to see if
10
it
minutes.
exists once every 5
Okay, 10
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah.
It's not like you're pulling all the data.
And RCOS actually does the same thing, so. Yes?
What's your usage been like as far as how many users you have?
I wish I had that, but blame me. I did a mistaken deploy once halfway through, so I only know the statistics for the very beginning, the first day, because when I did a deploy that removed my Google Analytics, and therefore I didn't have any data afterwards. But the first day, which was the day when I posted all the posters, we had about 300 active users or visitors and stuff. So I don't know about. Unfortunately, I foolishly deployed without analytics afterwards, so I don't know. Besides that.
Well, how many people in here have used it? Like I know I have.
Yeah, I recommend it.
Nice.
So I showed off this. The one question. So okay, let me ask that question. There was some other question here. You should also try to make this usable to some other universities. Two other university uses it.
Yeah, we're looking into that. After we refactored it, this is a lot easier to do because we separated a lot of the RPI specific logic to basically an independent library that we can branch out to make it separate.
Because the only difference is where you get the data. Everything else is essentially the same. So you can just write your own parser for where data you want, and you can just extend it, add it to Yaks.
I tell my advicees all this, so they get very happy.
I mean, if you know any other schools that have like data sources that I can use, I mean, I'm all in for that.
They're doing their HTML parsing.
Any other questions? Yes?
Are you going to put up a crazy amount of posters this semester too?
I still have leftover posters, so.
Yeah, just sitting in our living room.
Sure, I mean, yeah, if there's enough people that wants to help out, yeah. Yes?
First, the graphical sorting thing is really cool. The RPI scheduler, having to scroll through like 20 different schedules is very cool.
Yeah, it's not exactly it's the best part of it for it. There's actually I'm experimenting with other ways to view the data. So while this will work for now, I feel like there's certain problems with it. Like if you have sections that are on the same time period, it shows duplicates. That there need to be some resolving for that. And I just talked to one of my friends who showed me another scheduler that has a vastly different interface where you can drag your courses around to generate your schedule, which is an alternative that I'm looking into to see how well that behaves in general.
And a second thing, is Yaks going to be a course scheduler and a curriculum planner?
We were just talking about this.
So the goal, actually, my goal was to be a whole planner. So you can, because I normally don't schedule. When I came in freshman year, I had everything planned out. I was like, this is all the courses I'm going to take. I don't know if everyone does this, but this is what I did. So I was like, these are all the courses I need to take. What's the semesters I need to fit them in, and I basically just used the scheduler to make sure I didn't have any morning classes. And so my goal is for Yaks to allow you to plan, do that kind of planning, comprehensive planning. But for now, for a long time, I think it'll be just the course scheduling part of it for now.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great idea, and I've definitely gone down that path myself. I just see foresee problems because of how late in the year they
Yeah.
So how would you deal with that sort of long?
We can use based on the historical data because we have all the data. So we have
semesters.
right now we have 7 semesters worth of data. We have 3 of them from the SIS and 3 more from the RCOS scheduler because they have XML emitting that we just parse. So we actually have right now we have only 7 semesters of data, but as time progresses we'll have more and more. We could do heuristic analysis or something to
Process,
guess, to try to estimate and guess what courses will be available at certain times and things. Yeah. Well.
Do you have any plans to, if you're going the planner route, integrate the major requirements?
Yes, and that's probably one of the biggest problems that's not making this part progress is because there's no sane way to get major requirements without having to either manually enter them in or
User account.
parse every single department's pages for requirements, which are in different formats.
Consider asking the school to make a database of it?
Yeah, I haven't considered it. It's a pretty good idea, I guess.
Then they asked us to maintain it.
There used to be a project called RPI Planner a couple of years ago that was precisely that thing. But as Jeff said, the main problem is to get that plan from the departments.
Well, whoever's maintaining the...
Because I feel like the requirement is maintained individually by each department, so you'd have to probably go to each department and,
And some of the requirements are very non-obvious, like physics has a research requirement, which has 5 different ways to get out of it.
yeah, so a lot of this is still specifically you need to implement all these kind of specifications that they want.
Features.
Do you get how often this class recurs out of the data dumps? Do you see that this class happens every fall or every other fall or stuff like that, or is that just not told at all?
Not right now.
Not necessarily. So part of it is that SIS gives you has a notes section where they put arbitrary data prereqs and things like that before that Jinzen was showing.
Communication.
And it's not consistent. So sometimes they'll show it, sometimes they won't, and so that's why in the future to do some heuristical analysis on the schedule, saying, oh, this course only occurs every fall, therefore the spring coming up, it probably won't have this course, kind of thing. That would need to be done and not really rely on, because SIS doesn't really provide you with any information. Yes?
How does EX deal with topics courses?
Topics? So topics don't have, there's just no way to get any time, so it just doesn't show any time. So you can't schedule a course in YAC saying, this is a topics, because technically topics is dependent on how you arrange with whoever you're working with, and so there's not really anything YAC can do with it.
Whatever, classes that are offered for 1 semester. Does it know?
Oh, yeah.
Because there's certain codes for ones, ECSE is 49 classes, they disappear after 1 semester. Does YAX know to delete classes that aren't going to be running it?
Not right now.
So YAX only shows sections of course data for the current semester.
Yeah.
So
And does it know how to remove classes that there's very good chance that they're either not going to be offered again or they're going to be offered intermittently, or does it just keep everything?
it keeps everything. It keeps all the data. So.
And some of those classes are kept, they just get transitioned to new course numbers.
Yeah. So it knows when hey, these new sections that are in the next semester are actually the same course, so it can do all this. It's basically a normalized database, so it does what you think it does. Any other questions? Okay. Thanks.